the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival is an esteemed event that showcases films inspired by the life and legacy of Nelson Mandela, an iconic figure in South Africa's history. One of the highlights of the festival is the recognition of individuals who have made significant contributions to the world of film and television. Well, in this regard, Jacqui Hlongwane, the program manager of SABC2, was recently honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. And in studio now to tell us more about this, we're joined by the founder of the NMCFF Firdoze Bulbulia and Darin J. She's a director, Darin J. Sallam. We'll also chat to Jacqui Hlongwane in a bit. I want to welcome Darin as well as Firdoze. Good morning, ladies. Welcome to Morning Live. Tell us a little bit about Darin. I'm going to bring you into this conversation about your filmmaker. Tell us a little bit about your history in film and how you came about.
First of all, thank you for having me, and it's a great pleasure to have the film screening at the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. So, as a filmmaker, I never tried or chose to be a filmmaker. I found myself making a film, a story that I'm passionate about. It started like maybe in 2008 or 7. With a 2-minute film, but now here I am with my debut feature film festival, film Farha. That also was, we had a discussion yesterday about the film with students and youth, which is very exciting because it's really different when you talk to people in person, when you meet the audience and discuss your film. It's one of the audience yesterday said, who is also a very young like lady. She said it's different when you meet the filmmaker because you feel you're part of the film and the journey and the world of the film. So it's such a pleasure, and it's a very important film festival and great efforts by Firdoze. So thank you also for having me.
Firdoze, let's bring you in. I mean, talk to us about the festival. What is the festival about? How did it come about?
So it's the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, and it started in 2018 as a legacy project for Tata Madiba. It was his centenary, 100 years. And as filmmakers, I chair the Children's Broadcasting Foundation for Africa. And we work in the area of children and youth media. And we thought that the best thing we could do to celebrate Tata was to talk around film and media, particularly for children, because you know that he was always a champion. And for us, what is most important, and I say this all the time, is that we drew up the Africa Charter on Children's Broadcasting. Article 4 of that charter says that children should hear, see and express themselves, their languages, their life's experiences through the electronic media that reaffirms their sense of self, community and place. And we love being at the SABC because this is where we started. And education, the department, is really close to our heart.
Jacqui, I mean, congratulations on the award. What does it personally mean to you and the work that you've done in the television space?
It means a world to me. I mean, I really didn't expect that. I mean, it's all in the course of duty. I'm also an SABC employee, but very, very passionate about children's content and programming, especially educational content, because with the kids, you know, they're the future of this country, and the power of television cannot be underestimated. And as a public broadcaster, we have a duty, as Firdoze has said, that we really need to put out quality content out there that's going to really empower our children and help them to become critical thinkers, which is sorely needed in our country. So for me to have made that contribution in the kids' lives for all these years means the world to me, and I'm just most honored and most humbled by this really accolade.
And given how much the world is evolving that we live in and what our children are exposed to, how much of that is important to the SABC so that we take out content, we drive content that is, because there's so much these children are exposed to.
Yes. And that's why it's almost like we need to mediate the space for the kids, because as you say, there's so much going on. You know, there are wars, there was COVID, people were dying, there's all the social, political issues that we're all facing, there's poverty, there's education, there's technology, there's just so much. And sometimes we forget that they are also full human beings who need to be taken through and made to understand what is happening in the world, because they're curious, they're asking questions, but sometimes we don't take the time as adults to hold their hands and take them through and really explain things, because they're actually quite intelligent and they understand. So with the different types of programs that we've had over the years, we've really, I think as the SABC, we've really done well in the children's space. And of course, it's not to say we're there yet. There's still much more to do. But it's a very important audience to always consider, because they are the future audiences of, you know, when they're adults, and they are the future leaders. So we should never leave them behind.
Firdoze, speak to us about how the festival, you know, contributes to social change, which is something that the, you know, former statesman was very passionate about.
Absolutely. So we try to get content for children at their level. And I think this is what Jacqui is just talking about. How are you at the eye of the child? So that children can really understand and grasp the issues. The concern for us in Africa, and South Africa in particular, is that we don't produce content for children in feature films. We do very good television, and Jacqui is testament to that, but we don't produce films for children in South Africa. And so when we go globally and we're looking for content, I'm having to look for South-South content. So I kind of look for, you know, Brazil, Asia, kind of Latin America, Asia, Africa content. There's still more films being made for children in other parts of Africa. So I think we need a big shout out, and we really need to say, can filmmakers look at children as the primary audience? And most of the time they say to you, well, but children don't make money. And then you say, well, can you just look at Hollywood? Can you look at what is happening in terms of children's content? So I think this is important. We look for content that is both in terms of entertainment and education, which is edutainment, but also in dealing with big issues. And as Jacqui just said, you know, COVID happened. Nobody speaks to children about that. We did produce a series of animations on COVID so that we spoke to children about what was happening. The Scandinavians make amazing content for children. They really look at the eye level. They look at children and they talk to children. And what Jacqui was saying earlier is that we need to trust children. They are actually very bright. And I'm sure you know at home, it's the child that determines. Media literacy is there. Kids have new technologies. They know how to deal with things, sometimes better than their parents. And so we need to really listen to them.
Darin, speak to us about how your work speaks to children. You know, Rose just touched on how, and it made me think now that actually films for children in South Africa, I've actually not seen too many of those. Why is that important? And how, speak to us about the process of writing for children.
Actually, it's one of the things why Farha is important to be here, because in a children film festival, because I have maybe to say a brief about the film for people who don't know about it. So it's a coming-of-age film, a journey of a 14-year-old Palestinian girl whose dream changes from seeking an education to surviving the Nakba in 1948. So basically, whenever we screen the film to children, they relate because they put themselves in Farha's shoes and they feel that they're in her place. So writing for children was really difficult, especially also directing a child. Because for me it's a tough content, and this is why I'll never let the girls read the script. I was very careful to protect them, but also for the audience, children, I was also careful not to see much. We witness from Farha's point of view what's happening, but most of the time she turns her face because it was also somehow protecting them. But for example, the film is screening in schools in Jordan, and girls who I auditioned before for Farha, who never knew about the Nakba, now are sending me messages. Now we know what you meant about Nakba. So it's an educational, like films are very, very important to educate children, and it's not informative. It's emotions, and emotions stay. You don't forget. If you read something, you can forget about it, but when you feel something, it stays with you. This is why it's very powerful. It's a powerful tool.
And I think it's important that the girl child in the film is 14 years old. And I was saying for South Africa, when we consider 1976 and the fact that student activism happened at schools. So you're talking about 13, 14, 15-year-olds who were coming of age in a very difficult time with the 76 uprisings. So this film resonated for me. I really wanted to bring it to South Africa. so that young people can talk about it. Yesterday we were at Wits University where she was talking to film students where they were like, oh my goodness, such a big topic, such a big issue, and you do it in a way that is so carefully constructed. I think that's what we want to do with the film, is to have masterclasses, workshops, so young filmmakers can see how they can tackle big issues.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming through this morning, speaking to us about the festival. It is called, let me give you the full name, the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. And with us is the founder, Firdoze Bulbulia, and Jacqui Hlongwane. She's of the SABC, as well as a filmmaker in studio with us. She wrote the film, and her name is Darin Sallam. She's a director and writer.